The president did some controversial stuff back in January of 2012 when he took some people he wanted appointed to the National Labor Relations Board and appointed them during a recess. And a lot of people said, hey, wait, we weren't really in recess. You can't do that. And it has wended its way to the Supreme Court. You know who was in that hearing room yesterday?
No.
Was in the Supreme Court where they were arguing this case?
No.
Senator Mike Lee, Republican of Utah. He was there. He used to clerk for Justice Samuel Alito. Guess what? He's on the line now.
Excellent.
That's because this is where Washington comes
to talk. Yeah.
Hey, Senator, how are you?
Doing great. It's good to be with you.
All right, so let's talk about what you heard yesterday during these arguments. I mean, everything that I read suggests that the Supreme Court justices were very skeptical of the argument laid out by the Obama administration that these appointments were constitutional.
Very skeptical indeed, and with good reason. What the president did on January 4th, 2012 was blatantly, patently inconsistent with the Constitution. The fact is that unlike all other recess appointments in history, this recess appointment was made at a time when the Senate, according to its own rules, was in session. It was not in recess, and therefore he had no right to make any recess appointments. The justices were keenly aware of that. They had read the briefs, and they understood that fact, and they were not receptive at all to the government's argument.
So your sense of when the final ruling comes out in June that this will probably go against the Obama administration, and this has really been the first, I think I'm right in saying, it's the first case that has come along that has sort of tried to push back on the president and his view that the executive branch has a tremendous amount of power that many people think the Constitution does not give them.
Yeah, that's right. This has come full circle. You know, he has taken these actions time and time again that test the waters. In many instances, he tests the waters in areas where he knows that a judicial challenge is unlikely. But here it's caught up with him. Here he's seeing what happens when a president violates the Constitution, when it can be challenged in court, and he's going to lose.
Senator Lee, apparently the advocate for the administration there, Mr. Varelli, he cited what's called a stable equilibrium, is how he put it, between the executive branch and the congressional branch, and these recess appointments have been utilized by the executive branch to help balance things out when, in the president's mind, Congress is not meeting him halfway. How did the justices take that argument, I wonder?
Not well at all, because that's not what happened. That is not at all what the president did. What the president did was to grab power that was not his own, to grab power that belongs to the American people and has been delegated to 100 elected representatives in the United States Senate. That's what we're there for, and so he took power that belongs to the American people as his own, and that's exactly why we have a Constitution. That's exactly why we have a president instead of a king.
Yeah, Senator.
They didn't take well to that argument.
Senator Lee, what fascinates me about this is a very large issue that goes all the way back to our founders' intent of the Senate's role and the people's role versus a chief executive. And it really is. I'm not pretending here. I truly am shocked that someone like Harry Reid, who has been in the Senate for so long, and somebody who I believe should respect the traditions of the Senate and the proper role of the Senate, isn't on your side, isn't jumping up and screaming bloody murder too, regardless of party affiliation. I mean, the man is supposed to be representing the Senate and the intention of the role of the Senate, and yet he seems fine with this.
Yeah, that's right. And that is exactly why, other than the fact that this happened at all, other than the fact that the president was so bold as to attempt this, what you just mentioned is the single most disappointing aspect of this to me. That is the fact that there aren't Democrats. Not only is Harry Reid not outraged, but we don't have one single Democratic senator who has expressed concern with this, at least not publicly. Now, I will say I had several Democratic senators approach me in the immediate wake of this when I was making a big stir about it publicly. And they said, look, I agree with you. You're right. You're right to protect the institutional prerogatives of the Senate. You're right to protect the Constitution on this. It's just that the president's a member of my party, and so I'm not going to challenge him publicly on it.
Well, right now,
I think that's disappointing.
Yeah.
That's disappointing. We take an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States when we take this job, and that applies regardless of whether it's in our party's short-term political interest.
all right. So in the Senate right now, Harry Reid has done away with the long-respected requirement that for nominees you might have to get 60 votes if it's controversial, and has done away with that. How angry are Republicans about all that?
Well, we're not pleased at all. We're not amused. Because of the fact that not just that Harry Reid changed the rules, it's that Harry Reid broke the rules in order to change the rules. It's supposed to take 67 votes, a two-thirds supermajority, in order to change the rules of the Senate. And he manipulated the system. He broke the rules by changing them with a 51-vote threshold. That's wrong. And he did it to pursue the party's short-term political interest.
Well, do you
think in the long run, this is going to come back around to bite not only the Democratic Party, but to bite the Senate as a whole? This is not good precedent.
Yeah, I agree with you there wholeheartedly. But, I mean, do you think that when the Republicans take the Senate, as I think they will, that you guys will restore that? Or will you say, no way now,
right,
we're going to ram it right down your throats? Which is it going to be?
Look, taking into account human nature, taking into account the political nature of this institution, I think it is very, very unlikely that we revert to that system. I think it's sad, but I think the fact is that's water under the bridge. The best thing we can do at this point, in my opinion, is to keep this contagion from spreading over to our legislative calendar. In other words,
well, that has
the
been
nuclear
threatened
option right
yeah.
now. It affects only our executive calendar, where we're reviewing nominations. But the best thing we can do at this point is to prevent it from spreading over into what we consider as far as our legislative business.
Which occasionally Harry Reid threatens, so you got to be on guard there. Okay, well, listen, Senator Mike Lee, Republican for Utah, thank you so much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be with you.